everyone. Welcome back to Poppin' In with Alexa and Molly. I'm Molly.
And I'm Alexa.
And we hope everyone is having a great week. We are really excited to talk about a lot today. We're also back together.
Yes, no more COVID.
Yeah, and I do want to apologize. I feel like if I sounded weird, it's just because like I was at home, so I didn't have a microphone. So I know it was a little, I did get some feedback that it was a little bit jarring at first, but I think hopefully people got used to it. Yeah, but that's why it sounded like that, if anyone was wondering why I sounded like I was in a cave.
To be fair, we are not professional sound engineers.
We're not, and I didn't have a microphone with me.
Yappers.
We have to make do, but you're welcome for even getting an episode.
Yeah, you're welcome. I was ill.
She was on her deathbed.
Granted, I was also drinking wine, but I was ill.
Yeah.
I realized I must have made a huge deal about it at work because everyone has like been like, "How are you doing? Are you okay?"
Okay, I was out with a migraine last week, and I'm not kidding. Everyone was messaging me the next day being like, "How are you feeling? How are you?" I'm like, "It was a migraine, but I'm good."
I'm like, "I appreciate it. Thank you."
Yeah.
Before we get into our topics though, I have to say, so I think we've mentioned this before, but we finally did our little movie marathon.
Oh yes.
And Molly finally watched the 2005 Pride and Prejudice.
Yay!
I have never
I should be getting applause right now. I should be getting a 22-minute standing ovation.
Yes.
That joke will make sense later.
I think I teared up like 3 or 4 times, also because I love that movie, but just like seeing like all my friends being like, you guys were so engaged, like you seem like you actually liked it. If you didn't, don't tell me, but I am curious, like.
Yeah, we had a little movie night at Alexa's where we all brought a movie that we wanted to watch, and then Alexa like pulled movies out of a hat. And we also like made little like cocktail like drinks based on what movie we brought. So like, okay, so Pride and Prejudice, I did really like it a lot. I actually did get emotional at the end with the dad. Like the scene with her talking to the dad, like I was like, oh, I did really like it a lot. I knew I would. Like I've been wanting to watch it, especially because of Matthew McFadden. But anyway, so then I made everybody watch Shrek 2.
Yeah, which is like such a transition, but it worked.
No, I think everyone it was the vibe.
And it made me laugh. We were like texting the group message. I was like, my current vibe, and I was listening to the Pride and Prejudice soundtrack, and you replied, your current vibe, you were listening to the Shrek soundtrack.
I was listening to Changes.
Yeah.
Also, you removed a laugh from that, which hurt my feelings a lot.
Oh, it's because I'm going to put it on our out of context post.
Oh. So I literally got it was like Alexa removed a laugh.
I didn't know it did that. I just didn't want to show it when I screenshotted.
It made me laugh. But anyway, so I'm glad we did that.
I just want you guys to know, like, the 2005 Pride and Prejudice, I watched it once when I was 10, and it's been my entire personality since then.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
Love that movie. It's kind of difficult to watch period piece movies, I think, in a group of people, because it's like you have to pay attention. There was a lot of me pausing and being like, right, so in the Regency era, this is how much like $10,000 a year would be worth. And also like so-and-so owns this property. These are the British property laws at the time.
I would have been confused. Also, Alexa told me later, I had no idea. She was like, yeah, Pride and Prejudice is a well, Matthew asked yesterday, he was like, is Pride and Prejudice a comedy? And Alexa was like, yeah. And I was like, wait.
Yeah.
It is? I had no idea. I didn't.
A comedy of manners or whatever. Like if it were written today, it'd be a rom-com. Because it's like
that. To me, it felt a little bit more tragic than a rom-com.
I think it is because Jane Austen is like very brilliant. So
well, but what I was trying to say was like I think I know Emma's a comedy. You know what I mean? Like I can very much tell that Emma's supposed to be a rom-com, whereas Pride and Prejudice I've always thought was just like a straight romance. You know?
I think, but like, and that's why I think like the 2005 one is so good because they really play into like those like comical zooms and like there were a lot of funny moments.
It did make me laugh.
Yeah, because
the cousin was very funny.
It was written to be like a comedy, but it is very serious. Like, and I think like it's her most popular work because it's such like
so nuanced.
A look at like people then, but also it still like applies to like people now.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're here to talk about. No. I just wanted to get into it because it brought me, I'm not getting so much joy.
That makes me happy. I'm glad it brought you joy.
I know like one time you asked like, and well, this is a topic for a future date of like movies that make you cry. And it's like every time like Chris knows I am like having a moment if he comes in and like Pride and Prejudice is on, like I'm going through a depression spell. I'm like, I need something to pick me up. And I'm just crying, and I'm just like, it's so beautiful.
Well, that's why in the Barbie movie, when she's like, in Barbie, she's like, depression Barbie, and it's like watching the
I'm not kidding. I looked and 3 heads in that movie swiveled to look at me. And I was just like, yes.
Including me.
I'm depressed and I love Pride and Prejudice. And I love that for me. But anyways, something that we also both watched, the popular, I think it actually is like #1 on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
The Perfect Couple.
Yeah, The Perfect Couple. It's a Netflix show. It literally just... It just came on Netflix like last Thursday, and I'm not kidding when I tell you I watched all 6 episodes by yesterday. I finished it yesterday.
It's very bingeable. It reminded me, and I have to say, like, Chris said this too, because so it reminded me of Big Little Lies, where it's just like very, and also because it has Nicole Kidman in it, but it's like a murder, wealthy people, and I was telling you, like, Chris did that like classic guy thing where he's like, well, I don't care about that stupid show you're watching, and then he's just like in the corner being like, wait, they said what? What's going on? Like, he started, after episode 2, he started watching it with me.
And it did have a lot of similarities to Big Little Lies, which I'll get into. But I think, so I read the book, and I literally just read it, like I just finished it maybe a week ago. And it's a good book. It's a very much like a beach read. The author, it reminds me of Nicole Kidman. The author reminds me of the main character. Her name is Greer. She reminds me of like what I think, which she's probably just acknowledging that. But it was very much like a beach read. But then they made this Netflix show about it, and I think the show is better than the book.
Interesting. So before we get into it, I do want to say we're probably going to say some spoilers.
We're definitely getting into spoiler territory.
If you're planning on watching it or whatever, I don't know how to like not say spoilers, so just skip ahead and then watch it and come back and listen to it.
Yeah, we'll have the timestamps in the description to let you know when to skip to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically The Perfect Couple is about this family called the Winbury family. They're very wealthy. The matriarch of the family is she's an author of, I guess, mystery books. I think that's what she is, those are what her books are about. But it's basically a family of, in the book, it's a family of 4, it's her husband, and 2 sons, but they actually added another son into the show. Oh. And then it's, one of the sons is getting married to this girl, and she's one of the main characters, and basically her maid of honor gets murdered. Yeah. And that happens in the very beginning, and you're basically trying to find out like what happened. So it also focuses on the investigators it takes place on Nantucket. So it's like this is all like the wedding weekend. Yeah. So it takes place over the span of like 2 or 3 days, but it also does like flashbacks
and they're a very wealthy family. Like, they have, like, a $40 million, like, beautiful home. They have, like, a staff. Like, the main character, or not the main character, but, like, Nicole Kidman's character is, like, a very famous author. So it's all about, like, what are we going to look like in the press and that sort of thing.
Yeah, she's very obsessed with image. And so the girl that's dating her son, and who is marrying her son, is very much not from a wealthy family. She kind of is just very, like, working class, you know, and
she's a zoologist.
She's a zoologist. They definitely go into that more in the book, but her mom is dying of cancer, and her parents are coming to the island, and she's, you know, it's just, it basically, it's called The Perfect Couple, and it's interesting because you're not really sure which couple they're talking about, because there's actually multiple couples where you're like, they're the perfect couple, but are they?
Yeah, and none of them are.
Yes, of course. And the show is very camp, but in a good way. Like, it was very also... Well, I thought the acting was good, and I definitely thought the writing of the show was better than the book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which son did they add?
So they added the youngest son, Will.
I knew you were going to say that, because I was about to say, I feel like in the show, it was kind of pointless to have him there.
And again, okay, so spoiler, like I said, we're going to get into spoiler territory, so this is really for people who have watched the show, if they, you know, want to listen to what our thoughts are. But basically, his character did come into play at the very end. You kind of understand why he was there.
Why do you mean?
Because he was the reason basically why.
Oh, why? Oh, okay,
yeah, because of his.
Okay,
yeah.
So spoiler, they can't. The sons don't have the money that like the family inherits yet, because there's a trust, and they only come into their money when the youngest son becomes 18. So Will, who is the youngest son, is about to turn 18, but you find out, again, spoiler, that the woman who died is pregnant with the dad's child.
Yeah, the patriarch of the family.
Yeah, he was cheating on his wife, Nicole Kidman, with the woman who died. And so they kind of, And I think, like, that's a very key detail. So I'm curious, like, in the book, how did that play out?
So that was one of the big changes. There were a lot of changes. Actually, the whole last episode was completely different. So basically, in the book, no one kills her. She just accidentally takes something that, you know, takes one of the meds, which is, you know, that does happen. But and then she dies trying to actually get something out of the water.
Oh, interesting.
I think it was the bracelet. Now I'm like, it's hard for me to remember because I'm getting it confused with the show. But she just drowns. Whereas in the show, it's like somebody clearly murders her. I will say, when I was reading the book, I thought it was, again, spoiler, I thought it was Abby who killed her in the book. Like, they interview Abby very early on in the show, and she just had kind of like she just seemed to me like she had a motive, so I just felt like she could have been, the whole time I thought it was her. And then I thought it was funny that the show decided to have her as the murderer, because I'm like, oh, I thought it was her too. Like, interesting.
And so to clarify, Abby is the wife of one of the brothers, and she's played by
Dakota Fanning.
And I thought Dakota Fanning did phenomenal.
Yeah, I was like, I'm really loving this Dakota Fanning renaissance because she has always been a really good actor, and I thought she was so, like, smarmy, if that's the right word.
Yeah,
in this
like
role.
she does this, like, it's not like a wink. It's almost like she's like, yeah, like she always talks about like this Korean skincare, and or like she'll like say something kind of like snarky when the cops are interviewing her, and it's like she does this little smile, and she's like, yeah, you know, she doesn't have a lot of money. Like, she does it, like, and it's not like a wink, but it's like I don't even know how to describe it.
It's a smirk, yeah. It's just like, she's like Greer, the main character. Nicole Kidman's character is Greer. She's the mother. It's like she's like her, but meaner. Because the thing in that, so again, this is one of the changes from the book, was like, in the show, it was like, you find out that Greer is not really who she says she is. She has this perfect image, this perfect wife, mother, author, everybody looks up to her and adores her, and it's like, that's not her actual background. Yeah. Whereas, like, Dakota Fanning's character was very much like, I don't know, she
looked up to Greer. Like, even in the interview, she was like, oh, Greer is amazing.
Right, but she had very she was not a nice person. But
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny. So one of the things that the show did was, during the opening credits, they had a dance scene.
Okay, so I have done some research. So I think it's interesting. So it's literally, it has nothing to do with the show. It is very campy. It's like to a Meghan Trainor song, and they're all doing the same dance. It's almost like the Macarena, but like they're not doing
line
it.
dance.
Yeah, it's a line dance. And they're all kind of like pointing at each other or whatever. So apparently, oh shoot, where did it go? So that opening intro was the idea of Gail Beeman. She was the executive producer on the show, but she also worked on Wednesday, and she said she just kind of like knew the value of a viral dance. But so the director also wanted to do it, and she kind of like told them all over like Christmas break or whatever, and they apparently, like, the whole cast was like against it and started a WhatsApp to like coup to be like, we don't want to do this dance intro.
It is. And let me tell you, they were correct. It is so stupid. I don't get it. What do you love about it? To me, it's so corny. I had to skip it. So I skipped it every time. It was funny because Alexa was like, I have watched every episode's like the opening credits. I never skip it. And I'm like, that's funny because I skip it every single time.
But I think it's purposefully corny. It's kind of like the way like it's camp and they kind of lean into it. Like, I think it's purposely corny, and I think it really goes with like that tone of the show where it's like serious because it's murder, but it's also just like, here's us doing this stupid little dance or whatever.
I guess, but I don't see, like, I know what you're saying, but I just didn't see it that way. Like, I just thought it was weird.
Yeah, and I will say I also... I have to look up her name. So the character who dies, she's played by, her name is Merritt in the show, but in real life her name is Megan
Fahey or something.
Fahey. The way she spells Megan is wild. It's Meghann, which, I'm sorry, is atrocious. But I love her as an actress. She was in White Lotus.
She's gorgeous.
And she does this thing at the end where she's like, she's the last shot they show, and she does like this thing where she was like, and she like sticks her tongue out and her like head kind of goes back a little bit, and I'm just like, she is so cute.
Yeah, she is. She's
such a cute.
She's honestly
little hot button.
No, she's literally gorgeous. Like,
stunning.
when in her scenes, I'm literally like staring at her like face and her hair. She's so pretty.
There's a scene in White Lotus where it's like she's coming down these Italian steps and she's wearing like, it's like these pants but also like a crop top, and I'm just like, stunning.
Her fits in that show were stunning. Yeah, I loved her in that. And like in this show, she kind of reminded me of like, not at all the same character in White Lotus, but like she just was, so her character, like we said, her name is Merritt. She, in the book and in the show, she says like the Parkway. I don't understand that.
It must be something in Massachusetts, which there were some, I'll be honest, some awful Massachusetts accents.
Oh, the detective.
It was like, it was very clearly, actually, I don't know this for sure, but I'm like, she is definitely putting on this accent because it's ridiculous.
She had like a Boston accent. So Merritt's the girl that is the maid of honor. She's the main character's best friend. She's the one who gets murdered. She is like sort of like this party girl, and she, like we kind of mentioned earlier, she gets involved with the father-in-law, her best friend's father-in-law.
Yeah.
But she's a very good friend. Like, I really loved her character. The thing is, they really didn't show her too much in the show as much as they talk about her in the book, I would say. Yeah. But I guess, so there were some really interesting differences. So the most obvious immediate one was that the main character in the show is named Amelia, but in the book her name was Camille, and they only changed her name, but apparently they changed it because Nicole Kidman played a character named Camille in Big Little Lies, and they were worried that would confuse viewers because the shows are a little similar. I'm not really sure why that would confuse viewers because, again, like, it's not Nicole Kidman's character, but I will say Chris said multiple times, he's like, wow, Nicole Kidman is really pegging herself into these roles. And I was like, yeah, because I watched Big Little Lies, I watched that show The Undoing, and I also watched this show. All three of them, she's like a wealthy wife involved with murder. Yeah. All three of them. And I think, so I was kind of thinking about it a lot during this show. I do really like Nicole Kidman as, like, I think she was good in the show, but I don't think she's one of the greatest actresses ever. I feel like she's like the most expressionless.
Yeah, And, okay, I think, like, we were talking about this also. So, Nicole Kidman has this thing, and I need to, like, confirm this, but I read this once, like, 10 years ago.
No, it's true.
Where, in her contract, she's like, you can't touch my hair. Her hair, like,
I don't know about that part, but yeah.
Every movie, she wears a wig. Yeah. Because she doesn't want them to mess with her hair.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I would say, every single time you can tell, sometimes it's worse than others. Her wig in this show was bad.
It looked like a doll's hair. Like, if you're... Like, it was like those really, like, small curls. Yeah. Where it's just clearly, that looks like my American Girl doll. Yeah. Like, you are wearing a wig.
Well, there was one point where it's, like, a scene where it's kind of like when her husband gets, like, drunk on stage or whatever. And he doesn't, like, purposely run into her, but it's kind of just, like, a little tussle. And you can tell, like, her wig is, like, not right on her head. And I understand, like, not wanting to have anything, like, done to your hair. But I'm just like, I think in Hollywood... I feel like we have the technology for better wigs.
Yeah, and I think that's just, again, I don't think most actors wear wigs when they don't need to. Like, obviously, like, if you're on Game of Thrones, you might be wearing a wig. But, like, I don't think that would be, it's necessary for a character on The Perfect Couple to wear a wig. So that
it also makes me feel, like, it makes her not look older, but it makes me feel like she's more fragile. I don't know why. Maybe that's like a me thing because everyone I knew who wore wigs growing up was like an old woman. But I just find it interesting.
It just makes me feel like we're watching like a theater production.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was kind of the most immediate change. The other big change for me, and I didn't really see this mentioned too much, but I definitely noticed it, was that Amelia's character, again, I'm just going to call her, her name is Amelia in the show. Amelia is, they kind of go into, like, she has a lot of anxiety about getting married, because that's the other thing, is there's a lot of secrets about her and her, she doesn't want to get married to the guy. Like, her fiance's name is Benji. She doesn't really want to marry him because she's actually in love with his best friend named Shooter, and she just doesn't really want to go through with the wedding, so she has a lot of anxiety about it. And in the book, she has a stutter, and they kind of do that. In the show, I noticed they didn't do that at all. And the other thing was that her parents are a bigger part of the book because her mom, like we said before, her mom is dying of cancer. And they're coming to the island. They do, like, her mother's point of view in the book a lot, where it's like she's very self-conscious because she knows she doesn't have as much money as Greer and the Winberry, so she's kind of, like, a little bit resentful of them. And also she is, you know, anxious that people are staring at her because she has cancer. And they really talk, like, she is such a bigger character in the show. I mean, I know you'd probably agree, like, they don't really show the parents too much. Like,
no,
I noticed, like, in the trailer they didn't show them at all, so I was like, are they even a part of the show? And then they would show her kind of, like, maybe like drugged out a little bit on the couch. She'd be like dozing or whatever, and that's kind of the extent of it. In the book, the dad, because they're another like perfect couple where it's like they seem like they're perfect, but they're in love with each other. But like in the book, the dad had, you know, it's sort of revealed that her dad has had gay feelings for another man. Like they go into like a whole storyline with them.
And that's one thing I will say, like I haven't read the book, but I do feel like the show, like it seemed like everyone maybe had like a greater depth to them that we didn't get to in the show.
Yes.
Like there were a lot of things where I'm like, why is this character acting this way? Or like even the whole like reveal that Nicole Kidman's character was a prostitute. It's like, wait. Yeah. I feel like it was just very quick. It was like maybe...
It was so quick. It was so rushed.
It was like a minute in the last episode. They talked about it, and she's like, if anyone has any questions, let me know. That's it. And then they just never go back to that. And I'm like, wait. I want to know about, like... The
kids would have so many questions.
Yeah, I want to know about, like, this Pretty Woman moment where it's basically, like, the dad, like, pays to have sex with her, but then they get married somehow. I'm like, we didn't bridge this.
Well, the whole thing is like there's like a wire transfer situation, so they accuse like Nicole Kidman's character almost gets accused of the murder because they're like, who? So this one guy has been like kind of stalking her throughout the show, and you're like, who is he? And you find out basically in the very last episode, almost in the last like half hour of the episode, that this is her brother.
Yeah.
She basically had to pay him out of like debt. Yeah. He's a guy who like gets in a lot of trouble, and she's like had to like basically pay his way out. She used, like Alexa said, she used to be an escort, and then she met the dad, and now like she's who she is. But it's just like that, by the way, was not in the book.
Interesting.
At all. So they did give her more depth, but at the same time, it's weird because with a mini series or with a limited series, you'd think like more the characters would have more storyline or whatever, but it didn't really seem like they did.
No, I think they could have done more with like 1 or 2 episodes or just like certain things where they were like, I don't even know how they would do it better, but it's just like I didn't feel connected to any of the characters. Like I think maybe like it was just lacking depth. Like it was a very easy watch. Like, but I think like I find that to be lazy writing whenever I read like crime stories or whatever, and it's very clear that they're just adding characters in to be like a diversion. You know, so you're not, like, actually figuring out who killed the person.
And I will say that's what I loved about the book, where it's, like, the end you find out, like, nobody murdered her. And I kind of liked that, because I'm like, oh, that's a different... Because sometimes I hate when I'm reading a book, and it's, like, the twist is so ridiculous, because it's this character who's suddenly all, like, evil. And I'm like, well, they weren't talking like that earlier. Like, why are they suddenly, like, a cartoonish evil person? But I will say, so that's another, like, the ending is just very different. Will was added to the storyline, but I thought his role actually became important. But he wasn't really in it too much.
There's like a scene where he has like a little girlfriend, which I'm just like, also like that.
She was in the book too. She was actually more prominent in the book.
What was, if Will wasn't in the book, what was she?
She was like, so she had met Merritt, and she's the chief of police's daughter, and she happens to work for the caterer that is catering the wedding. So she had met Merritt and kind of looked up to her, and she was like behind why like Merritt cut her foot or whatever. Like she had dropped a glass. I can't remember exactly, but she wasn't really super relevant to the story, but a little bit more prominent than just her like being friends with Will.
Yeah.
And then sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's like this scene, I thought it was so cringe, where she is a caterer and she brings Will a drink, and on the napkin she writes, "You're cute," but it's "you are." Like, I know. And just like, this feels like someone in their 40s.
Like a 50-year-old man wrote this script.
Yeah, writing a 20-year-old or whatever they are.
Yeah, and just a couple more things. Like the detective is a woman character, and in the book it was like a hot Greek man.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and they made her a woman in the show. And actually, I did think she was, other than the atrocious Boston accent, I did think, also, apologies if she actually is from Boston in real life, and we didn't really look at that up. Maybe that is her real accent. I don't think it is. I'm willing to bet it's not, because it was quite bad. But I thought her character was actually more interesting than he was in the book. Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's from New York City.
Okay. The book party scene was not in the book. Huh. They go more into her book launch in the show than they talk about. They don't have that in the book. So all that stuff, like, I would say that the whole last episode, completely different. But I really liked it. I know we just have sat here saying, like, you know, all the reasons why like the book was different, but I do think like it was good. It was interesting.
So 2 things. One, I think I texted you this. My very niche like favorite genre is like murder wedding or like spooky wedding, you know? Yeah. And you were like, really? Like what? And it doesn't happen often. Yeah. But you think it does. I always say Harper's Island, which I watched, I think it came out in like 2010 or something. Heard of that. It was like an ABC show, and it's basically like there's a series like they all come to this island in the Pacific Northwest, and there's a serial killer on the island, but it's like they're there for the wedding. So you're trying to figure it out. I love that show. I want to watch it again, but you have to buy each episode. It's 99 cents per episode on Apple TV, which really pisses me off, but whatever. And then also, The Guest List is a book by Lucy Foley. I really like that. And again, it's like a wedding on a remote British island. Someone dies, and you're kind of like figuring out who. And I just think like weddings are the perfect place for murder. You know? Yeah. Because, like, to tell, like, a murder story, because it's like, yeah, you have a bunch of
Everyone's
suspects.
There, yeah.
Everyone has motive because they all know each other,
and it's supposed to be a happy union.
Yeah.
I will say...
Tensions are tense.
Yes. One thing with Nicole Kidman, too, is she went in and out of that British accent. Her character was supposed to be British. She's Australian in real life.
Her accent, whenever... She is not good at, like, putting on an American, any other accent. Like, her Australian inflections always come in. But when I was watching it, I was about to ask Chris, I was like, I wonder if he can pinpoint which of these, because he doesn't know any of these actors or where they're from, but I do. And I was like, you can just tell, like, the inflections. I'm like, okay, yeah, that guy's British. Like, the woman who plays Amelia is Irish. And her inflections, like, you could tell.
Yeah, sometimes I could hear her accent.
Yeah.
I will say, so the actor that plays, so there's a couple Irish actors in there, because the actor that played Thomas, the older brother, he's from Midsummer. I've seen him in like a few things. He's Irish in real life. He does a great American accent. He does too.
However, he's one of those people, and I forget who it is, but when they do the American accent, I think it's maybe Benedict Cumberbatch or someone, it almost sounds a little bit tinny. And I think, like, that's what sometimes, like, Irish or British people have to do to get the American accent, which I find interesting.
Yeah, I've just noticed for some reason I feel like Irish people are very good at American accents. I don't think British people always are.
No.
Or, like, yeah. But I do think, for some reason, Irish people... But you found out that the actress that plays Amelia is Bono's daughter.
Yes. Okay, so her name is Eve Hewson. I want to say I love this actress. Outside of, like, one thing, I've watched, like, all the stuff that she's been in. Mm-hmm. So the first time I saw her, she was in this show called Behind Her Eyes, which was really big, I think, like, at the start of the pandemic, maybe. And then she was in Bad Sisters, which I've talked about on this podcast. She plays the youngest daughter. She's phenomenal in that. That is a great show. Please go watch it. Season 2 is coming out in November. I love that show. And then she was in this. And I just think she has, like, an interesting look to her.
Me too.
2, I think she's so hot. Her body is banging. I really have to give it to her. And she does, I notice, like, in everything I watch, she does a lot of scenes where she's, like, just, like, walking around in, like, a bra and, like, shorts or whatever. And I'm like, honestly, if I looked like that, I would too.
Right, but I will say, so I guess I found, because, again, I read the book, so her character in the show was a little bit more grating to me than in the book. She just made so many choices in the show where I'm like, what? Like, I'm saying her character, because at one point during the show, she confronts, they're all having a sit-down dinner, her parents are there, like, it's supposed to just be a calm dinner, and she randomly blurts out to Greer, why did you make me sign an NDA? Which Greer does make her do, that's weird, but still, she, like, confronts the table and starts, like, saying things, and then is just like, it obviously causes, like, a huge fight or whatever, and I'm just like, why did she do that?
Yeah, or I was thinking there's a scene when, again, so you said in the book, she's, like, in love with her fiance's best friend, Shooter, and in the show, it's kind of weird, because it's, like, they have one scene where they're kissing, and then there's, like, a flashback where it's like they are connecting, they're waiting for her fiance to, like, get to the house, some, like, vacation house, so it's just the two of them for the day. But that's it.
Like,
they don't.
It's at the house.
Oh yeah, yeah. But that's it. They don't make it seem like it's, like, this big long thing where it's like they're in love with each other.
No, but they went into that a little bit more in the book.
She says this line where, so she finds out that Shooter is also rich, like, richer than her fiance, and she says to him, she's like, I didn't know you were rich, and he was like, he was like, I never said I wasn't rich. I said I just didn't care about money. And she was like, well, I thought we were the same. I was like, what did you expect him to be like, by the way, I'm fucking loaded. In case you didn't know.
Also, if he's...
you know the Monopoly man? That's me.
Yeah, and also, like, if he's friends with your fiance, who is very rich, like, maybe just assume he might be in the same circle. Exactly. Like, you know, I mean, not always, but, you know.
Also, Google people. She's not like, oh, I'm interested in this guy. Like, the first thing I do is I pull up any form of the internet, and I'm just like, who is this person? And would probably be like, oh, he's the son of mega millionaire.
I found them to be the most boring plot of the whole show. Like, I didn't really care. Whereas in the book, I cared about the two of them, but I just didn't.
And the fiance, like, there's this whole thing, she, like, cheats on him with his best friend, and at the end, he's just like, you know, I really loved you. You're a good person still. And they just, like, hug him, and
that did not happen in the book, by the way. He did not walk in on them or whatever. That was weird. There was one last thing I was gonna say, though, really quick about. Oh no, another thing that she did that was annoying to me was it was like kind of in the very beginning. She walks out. I know what you're saying. Like, if you had that body, like, you'd be walking around like whatever.
Okay, I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
She walks out. And I agree with you, but she walks out at one point. Literally, everyone's getting I think it's the day of the wedding. So there's a ton of people outside the house, like caterers, people working on things. And she finds like a bug or something, and she wants to bring it outside, and it's just to like her free spirit or whatever.
Yeah.
She's wearing a bra. Her tits are out.
Yeah.
And she walks out like just in her bra.
Backyard. Yeah. There's a bunch of people around. Of course, her mother-in-law is like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. She's like, "Hey, I gave you a robe. Like, go put it on." And it's supposed to make Greer look like kind of the.
Yeah. I think it's reasonable to be like, you're half naked in the yard.
Exactly.
This is uncomfortable.
So that kind of stuff like annoys me because I'm like, okay, I feel like we're supposed to sympathize with this character, but I'm like, that's annoying that she came out there with just her bra on. That's like inappropriate.
Yeah. But yeah, so she's Bono's daughter. Super Irish.
That's really
she's from Dublin.
Nepo baby.
Yeah.
She's good, though. I mean, I thought she was a good actor.
I love her.
The thing about Nepo babies, we talked about this before, but it's like, sometimes because they are the son or daughter of whoever, they are just naturally talented.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think so. But also I was gonna say, like, you know, I think about, like, there are a lot of, I would love to do, like, a Diet Pop episode on just, like, book adaptations to, like, film or TV, because there are a few where I'm just, you know, people always say, oh, the book is better. There are a few where I think the movies are better. Or the show.
Yeah, or has more depth.
I always say prime example, The Notebook. That book.
Oh, yeah.
Boring. It's like 100.
I don't even know if I read the book.
It's like 150 pages. I mean, it's probably actually a little longer than that. And it's just like the movie gives them such a more like background, such more in depth. It's so much better.
I think it's easy to forget it's based on a book. Yeah. That's how like good the movie is.
Yeah, exactly. Or the same thing, which we'll talk about next week. But like I just read Tell Me Lies, and that's a movie or a show on Hulu, and I actually like the show better.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a few like that. I think, and this is a hot take, I like Lord of the Rings, the movies, better than I like the books.
I think a lot of people feel that way. I mean, the thing that I hear a lot of people say about Lord of the Rings is like, he describes trees for like 15 pages. Yes. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't want to read that either.
And there's sometimes people are like, oh, I love fantasy for the world building. I'm like, I like it for the plot. I like things for the plot.
That makes sense. That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, Perfect Couple, I would say, I mean, just come into it knowing it's a little camp, but it is actually good. I really enjoyed apparently I loved it because I watched all 6 episodes in like 2 days.
Yeah, I watched it so fast. But yeah, so we did our question of the week this week. Once again, if you want to, every week we ask a question of the week related to one of our topics. It's on our Instagram, so follow us at PoppinInPod if you want to reply and give your hot takes. But this week we asked, who's your favorite celebrity couple?
So do you have yours?
Yes. Oh, I forgot. Again, you asked me earlier and I had to remember.
Okay.
I have 2. Yes. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know we could do 2.
Well, so the first one that like instantly popped into my head is, and it's just because I think maybe because I saw them recently, but George and Amal Clooney.
Oh, yeah.
I love when famous people date. She's not a regular person. I mean, she's
she's like a genius.
Yeah, but she's not like also an actress. Yeah. I love when people, like famous people, date not famous people, and I think those usually end up being the relationships that work out the best.
One of my favorite like things is one year at the Golden Globes, I guess George Clooney was winning like a Lifetime Achievement Award or something like that, and Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were hosting, and they in their monologue they are talking about Amal, and they're like listing all of her achievements. They're like, she has done this and this and this, and they go, and today we honor her husband with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Yeah, because she's like so like she's like a
phenomenal,
such an accomplished
and that's
person.
Why also we didn't talk about this, but I think it's embarrassing, like, because when he'll be like hanging out with like Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's like, here's my 22-year-old girlfriend.
Does he hang out with Leonardo DiCaprio?
I've just like seen them
Oh.
together, or maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I don't know. I just think like it's very respectful. Actually, I just thought of another. So I also really like Steve Martin and his wife. I don't even know anything about her or what she looks like, but I appreciate the way he talks about her when
But
he
is that
gives,
a celebrity couple? It's just one celebrity.
Okay, well I guess I'm just thinking of like celebrities married to normal people. But the other one I was thinking about is Ryan Gosling and
Eva Mendes?
Yeah.
Or Eva, yeah.
Eva Mendes.
Yeah.
And I just think, you know, they are a really good couple because there's like a whole saga where it was like, you know, they broke up and got back together because like I think she was pregnant, but like you can tell like they really love each other, and I think like she kind of put her career on hold a little bit to like raise their children or whatever. But like, you know, I read somewhere where it was like they had a discussion about that and they wanted to do it, and he always wears like a little E necklace, which I think is cute or something. Cute. And like you can just tell they're very private. Also, imagine like Ryan Gosling being your dad, such a Renaissance man. But I just think they have like a very healthy, lovely relationship.
I know. Yeah, I agree.
And Greta Gerwig and her husband.
Oh,
Bamba.
They are not my celebrity couple. He cheated on his.
Oh, never mind. I take it back. That's right. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I think they're both talented people, or at least I think she is. But
I think I just like Greta Gerwig.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, I just like said half the celebrities. Okay, go ahead.
You did. We were gonna do favorite, but we can also just name people.
Yeah.
Just list off people. So my favorite is Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr.
Oh yes.
I've always loved the two of them, and they just like it's just so cute. Okay, first of all, like hot,
and they still hot,
and they were in multiple things together.
Mm-hmm.
I love. Okay, I Know What You Did Last Summer is one of my favorite movies.
I haven't seen that yet.
It is. I don't know if you would like it because it's kind of one of those things where it's like you have to know, like don't watch it for like the quality.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's a very iconic teen slasher movie. Like it's good. And they're both in it. Ryan Felipe's in it as well. But they're so cute. They're always Fred and Daphne, like, and they're still together. I just saw a picture of them the other day, and they're like they still look really good. Their kids are cute. Like
this is random. I always think about them when I do my dishes in my dishwasher because they were in like 2 or 3 dishwasher commercials for like Dawn or whatever. And they say in it, they're like, you know, you actually save water by doing your dishes. So they're like, lasagna night, do the dishes. And it's just like them like doing I'm not kidding. Every time I load my dishwasher, I think of Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr.
That's an interesting take.
I'm sure that's not what they wanted to like be remembered for, but yeah, that's just how my mind works.
Fred and Daphne? No. Dishes.
Yeah, exactly.
Dishes. Yeah, so I think they're my favorite. And then we had a couple of answers. So Megan said John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, which would also have been my other favorite. I do love them. I think they're sometimes on the verge of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, and that makes me, I think they're actually friends with them, which makes me upset and sad. But I do, like, I think they're way more talented.
Sad.
I love John Krasinski so much, and I love Emily Blunt, so they're like a beautiful couple.
I now picture you with just like a picture of like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and you're just like practicing like you're aiming in your bedroom at night, like throwing like a little knife at it or something.
No, I am not threatening them.
No, I didn't think you were threatening them.
I'm just saying that for the show. Yeah.
Awkward.
No, I get a little worried because I think they try, like, so I think John Krasinski is actually hilarious. Like, he's genuinely so funny.
I thought he's just tall, yes, but also hot.
So hot. And I think Emily Blunt sometimes tries a little too hard to be funny. Like, she loves to be, like, sarcastic and, like, so sometimes that's what I mean when I say, like, I think they're trying very hard to be kind of, or they're kind of towards that, like, trying to be like the perfect couple or whatever.
Emily Blunt seems like the type
perfect.
Where she actually is funny, but she seems like she has probably a very dry sense of humor that can, I think, like probably like in interviews or something would maybe come off as bitchy, but like if you knew her, you'd just be like, because she does have like a resting bitch face, even though she's beautiful, but you know what I mean? But she seems like she's probably very funny, but like in person she's probably like, okay, I have to like do a different type of humor.
Maybe, yeah. But I love them. So anyway, that was Megan's answer. I do agree. That was going to be my second choice. Liz said Lana Del Rey and the Alligator Boat Tour Guide. He's a celebrity to me.
Interesting.
I don't know if I completely know what that is.
Alligator Boat Tour Guide. Okay, well, I Googled that and it is just giving me alligator tours. Lana Del Rey.
Okay, so she's dating an alligator tour guide named Jeremy Dufresne.
Interesting. Lana Del Rey, I think, is one of those people who just does not
Why?
care.
How do we know that? Why do we know that he is an alligator tour guide?
I mean, it's probably his profession. I feel like that's probably not hard to find out.
Apparently, they go back years. So.
Wow, I love that.
That's a good one. That's a good answer. My mom answered and said Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick.
Oh yeah, I always forget about them.
I do too. That's a good one.
Also, Kevin Bacon, when he was younger,
could get it.
He could get it.
I mean, he's still really attractive now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes, like, when we were watching Beetlejuice, and I didn't realize, like, for a long time that was Alec Baldwin, I was like, he was so cute, because I've only seen him, like,
wild,
when he's been a little bit older.
Yeah, so that was all we had. Those were some good answers.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking at this alligator boat tour guide once again. Like, you know, I think that's very much like we get some of those like fan fiction, like the movie that Anne Hathaway did, where it's like she's just a random woman who like dates this very famous singer. It's like, well, Lana Del Rey is dating an alligator boat tour guide.
So now I feel kind of bad for cutting you off about the Steve Martin thing. I guess you can say celebrity couple if it's just one celebrity. But...
No, it was Steve Carell.
What? You said Steve Martin. I swear you did.
I meant Steve Carell, but also Steve Martin.
Steve Carell would have made sense though, because his wife is an actor, so I'm fine with that.
Oh, who is she?
I don't remember her name, but she was on The Office. She played his girlfriend, Carol. I want to say her name is like.
I did not know that was his wife.
Yeah, she's
Nancy
been in
Walls. Carol.
Yeah, she's been in like a few things with him.
Carol.
She's been in a few of his movies and stuff.
I just like the way, like, he talks about her sometimes, like, when he's like doing interviews or like award shows, and the way he talks about her, he's just like very like funny but endearing.
They're clearly like they're a good couple.
Like,
I'm sorry, I really
her.
swore you said Steve Martin,
but
so
also
I'm
Steve
sorry.
Martin and his wife are very nice. However, I do think Steve Martin's soulmate is Martin Short.
Yes. And I think Martin Short and Meryl Streep are a great couple, even though they're not willing to admit that they are. But in my head and in my heart, they are a couple.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good question.
Yeah, but I know. So you are very invested in the Venice Film Festival.
I am. I've been following it like it's my fantasy football league.
What's your? Wait, that would be so fun. We should like make an app or something where it's just like, I don't know how it would work. Ooh, with like your ideal movie.
Well, can we do not an app, but like, can we just do that? I don't really know.
I don't know. I had to ask Chris recently how fantasy football worked, and he did explain it to me really in depth.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you a thing, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But that would be fun.
That would be fun. We need to like sit down and talk
your
about
fantasy movie league, and it's like whoever wins the most awards or whatever.
But for me, it'd be fun to do like men, but like
really shocker. Who would have thought? If you
TV or movie, that'd be so fun.
Want to learn more about Molly's Men? Visit our podcast and see the video we made.
Alexa worked really hard on it, and actually, for real, she worked hard on it. It was I love it.
But yeah, what's your favorite film festival? I'm just curious.
I don't know if I have a favorite film festival. I follow the Cannes Film Festival a lot, but the Venice Film Festival just happened. I think it's done now. I think they had their closing ceremony, but there's just a lot of stuff coming out, a lot of content. So one of the probably the most talked about movies is a movie called Queer. It's a Luca Guadagnino movie. He just did Challengers this year. He did Call Me by Your Name. So it's starring Daniel Craig and a relatively newer actor named Drew Starkey. He's from Outer Banks. I don't really know him, but he's very cute. Basically, it's an adaptation of a book, and Daniel Craig plays a man in the 1940s. It's like it takes place in Mexico in the 40s, and he becomes infatuated with a younger man played by Drew Starkey.
Starkey plays the mean brother in the Outer Banks.
Oh, okay, I don't watch the show, so but yes, if you watch the show, that's who he plays. And he's kind of the breakout star of like the Venice Film Festival. Like everybody, he is really hot. Like everybody's like, OMG.
Is he British? He looks British.
I thought I saw he was American, but I'm not quite sure. He's somebody's kid. I
go back far enough.
Saw...
They're all British.
Or is he? Maybe I am.
He's somebody's kid.
No, I may have like...
Somebody raised him.
His father is Todd Starkey, who is a basketball coach for Ken's... Nope. Ignore me.
You're like, nope, that's not on my radar.
He had a Wikipedia page, but anyway. So anyway, that was... I'm going to be watching that. I will be seeing it. Because again, I love that director. I love his movies. And Daniel Craig, I am obsessed with. Oh, that's another one. Daniel Craig and Rachel Weisz.
Celebrity couple. They were together. Yes. I love Rachel Weisz. Okay.
Yes. Which, like, yeah, they're just like a perfect couple.
I love low-key couples where, like, again, someone says that they're together and you're like, I didn't know that. You know what I mean?
No offense, you might be kind of in the minority there because they're very famously together.
Well, I don't know.
People love them. Maybe not, but I do know, like, a lot of people
I love couples who aren't, like, not braggy, but, like, you know, they're not, like, in your face, like, we're a couple, we're a brand.
Well, they're not on social media, so that's one thing.
That's true.
They seem very private, which I love. I love Daniel Craig. I also love how he's really, since leaving, like, you know, and not being James Bond anymore, he is really taking on roles that it's just like, okay. It kind of reminds me of, like, Daniel Radcliffe, where it's like, do your thing. Like, as you know, I love the Knives Out movie, so playing, I'm just obsessed with him.
Yeah, he's good in that
little Southern accent. Anyway, another movie was called Baby Girl. So speaking of Nicole Kidman,
she's really cranking some stuff out.
She is. So it stars Nicole Kidman, Harris Dickinson, who I'm obsessed with. I hated my voice just then, but he's really hot. He was in like Where the Crawdads Sing and
he was in A Murder at the End of the World.
Yeah, I never watched that. I should because I love him.
It was good. The ending was okay.
So this movie, I don't know if it's getting really great reviews. It's basically a May-December erotic thriller where Nicole Kidman plays like a powerful CEO and then he plays like an intern, but it's like their roles are kind of reversing because he's like in the bedroom. It's like she's like letting all her like, you know, desires out or whatever. I don't know. And she is apparently very good in it because she won Best Actress, but she had to miss the ceremony because her mom suddenly died, like just the other day. It was very sad.
Also, I was gonna say, I was reading this thing. I think it's interesting. Someone was talking about, you know, for a long time we used to have like the age gap romances where it was like the older man and the younger woman, and now I think we're having this like resurgence or renaissance where it's like the older woman and a younger man.
Where it's like Anne Hathaway's movie was similar.
And there's been a couple of others I can't think of, but
it's not like totally original, but I do think like this. I will be seated for this because let me tell you, I love Harris Dickinson.
Yeah.
It just sounds really good. So.
And I'm curious, I was also reading a thing, they were saying there's a lot of kind of like erotic stuff that's now like coming out in movies and stuff, which is, I just think very interesting. Like, I think, you know, I think sex and film go hand in hand since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. I think like people have been pushing the envelope more, but in a different way. Where, you know, now we have intimacy coordinators.
That's true.
Now, like, I think it used to be just, like, sex for the sake of sex sometimes on screen, but now, like, it'll a lot of times have to do with the plot, or I think, like women are better represented, you know?
That's true. I will say, and I'm not sure if this is a good or bad thing, but I think, like, movies I've noticed this happening a lot lately, like, movies seem to like market themselves as being like way spicier than they end up being. Challengers, for example. And that was kind of like, I think maybe that was just more people just thinking it was, but I think like people expected a little bit more from that. Like it was almost like more tame than it made itself. And I heard Baby Girl, I did see some reviews that it was like, they didn't really go there as much as they could have.
One thing, and I think we talked about this when Challengers came out, is I'm always curious, like, I think Zendaya must have something in her contract, like, maybe, like, it's, like, a no nudity, or, like...
Oh, yeah, I think she
does. Because, you know, in Euphoria, everyone's naked in that show.
Right.
Like, everyone, and, like, she's, I think, the only character, or one of the few, that, like...
She doesn't even really have sex on the show.
Yeah, and she doesn't really in Challengers either.
No.
I mean, there are, like, a couple of scenes where they're, like, about to or whatever, but they don't. And I find that very interesting. I don't think it's bad for her, but I just...
No, it's just interesting. I think the tension is sometimes what they're trying to be like, it's the tension.
Yeah. And I love Zendaya.
Which is fine, but I do think it's interesting where sometimes I'm like, I feel like they could have gone a little bit more.
Yeah.
But... whatever. So another movie that was pretty big at the festival was the Joker sequel. Yeah. Which has Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. And I have some thoughts. Okay, do I think Joaquin Phoenix is hot now? Like, I think I might. And if you've listened to this podcast, I do not like Joaquin Phoenix. I've talked about that. I think
I love that this is like the dilemma.
No, I'm having like a full like crisis right now because let me tell you though, look him up at the Venice Film Festival. The gray hair, the white t-shirt. Like I was like, hold on.
Joaquin, okay, that is one of those names that it's like, I cannot
Joa.
Yes, I found it. Okay. Quin.
And then just like Venice.
Let's see.
I don't know what you're looking at, but I feel like it must not be correct. Okay, he looked fine. Like, he really looked fine. And I think Joaquin Phoenix is a fantastic actor. I watch most movies he's in, so I'm not saying that. But I did just recently watch Gladiator for the first time, and I was kind of like,
oh, same.
I'm kind of getting it a little bit. And then, I just like, I don't know. I thought he was hot. And
no,
then
I wasn't going to say anything like that.
I thought you were going to judge me for it.
No.
And then at the film festival, I was like, oh my God. He did have to, for the first time, like, face reporters since dropping out of that movie where he was refusing to be in a...
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I guess. And he did say he just was like... I thought he was going to get really pissed because he seems like kind of a, not volatile person, but just would have like a temper or whatever. But he was just like, all the other parties aren't here to talk about it, so I'm not going to speak on it. So he didn't really address it. But interesting. I will be seeing the Joker sequel. I think
I need to watch the first one. Everyone is always like, you didn't watch it.
And
I'm like, I just watched Iron Man for the first time. Like, let me cook, give me some time.
Once again, it's not a superhero movie. It's not even really a super villain story. It's kind of like, you could look at it as like an origin story, but it's really its own thing. Yeah. It's interesting, but
I am kind of not tired of Lady Gaga, but I'm like a little bit just like, okay, I'm over it. But also I thought it was interesting. So she just got engaged, I think, recently to, his name is Michael Polanski, and I thought it was cute how they met. His mom met him and called, or not his mom, Lady Gaga's mom met him, called Lady Gaga and was like, I think I just met your husband. And she said that her response was like, well, I'm not ready to meet my husband. Yeah. But then she like met him and she was like, damn, like, my mom was right. Like, this is my husband. Cute. I don't know like what it was about him. I didn't like hear that part, but I just thought that was really interesting.
I just saw the other day that they got engaged and I was like, oh, Lady Gaga, good for her. I love Lady Gaga. I will say I think she'll be good in it. I already know. Like, we've talked about it before. I'm sure she'll be like, yeah. I've always thought she's a very good actor.
To clarify, I love Lady Gaga. I think she's a good actress. I think just seeing her, I think she can be a little insufferable. House of Gucci, I was just like, that really just, I was like, okay.
I think she and Joaquin are kind of a force to be reckoned with because they take themselves so seriously, and one thing about me is I don't like when people take themselves really seriously. But that's to say, I mean, the product is always very good. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm excited to see it. I will say, so it's clearly a musical from the preview. Oh. And even the director actually said it was a musical. Like, before the movie was filmed, he was like, yeah, it's going to be a musical. And everyone kind of they're showing them like dancing, and it's going to be probably a lot of like dream sequences, but still they're singing in it. Well, now they're trying to market it as not a musical. They are trying to make sure we know this is not a musical. And Lady Gaga said that it's not a musical, but the way the music is used is to give the characters a way to express what they need to say because the scene and dialogue is not enough.
That's a musical.
That's a musical. Like, literally everyone was like, does she know what a musical is? She just described a musical.
Yeah. I just always think of, so Molly is a musicals person and I am not, and we went to go see The Color Purple with her mom, and I've only seen like the Whoopi Goldberg original version, and like the first scene comes on, we're at the theater, and they just like, their mouths open and songs come out, and I remember I turned to her and I said, is this a musical? And
you were like, so bad, I thought you knew.
You were like, yes, and I was just like,
okay, and it was, to be clear, it wasn't just like a remake of the movie, it was a movie adaptation of the musical.
Yeah, it is a musical. So
it wasn't like but it was funny.
It's like, it was just like very Euphoria, like, is this play about us? It's like, is this a musical?
And then I'll go through the next few really quick. There's a movie called Maria with Angelina Jolie, and it's a biopic where she plays a renowned opera singer.
Interesting. She hasn't been in anything in a while.
She hasn't, and I thought it was interesting because apparently her acting is very good in it. Like, she'll probably be nominated for an Oscar. She's a great actress. She is. But she kind of touched on her divorce a little bit during people think she referred to it at least, because during the press conference after the movie, somebody asked her about. She was talking about how her personal life influenced Maria because Maria is scrutinized by paparazzi, or she was. And so obviously Angelina Jolie has that experience. And she said, there's a lot I won't say in this room that you probably know and assume. And people took that as her referencing her divorce with Brad. I would be curious to see how that movie is. I just thought that was interesting too. Not to make her whole thing about her and Brad, because I think Angelina Jolie is a very talented actor. I do wish she was in more things. I do feel like she's like, as famous as she is, it almost seems like she really doesn't do that much. Interestingly, I think she's just a mom now, and she's
and I think also it sounds like, and this is like pure speculation, it sounds like her marriage was pretty toxic. Yeah. And so I would imagine that maybe makes it difficult to do the work that you wanted to do. Yeah. But I will say she is very selective, I think, about the project that she does. Like, she never just does something because she's like, I want to just do work. She does something because she's like, I think this is impactful.
She usually has like a role in it too, as far as like production. Because she's directed movies too. I never saw that movie Unbroken, but she had directed that, and I heard good things about it. But speaking of Brad Pitt, he and George Clooney have a new movie out called Wolves, and it's like an action comedy. I honestly could not care less about it. That's not something I'm interested in. I do love Brad Pitt as an actor, and I love George Clooney as well, and it kind of is like their reunion from like Ocean's 11 and all that, but I just don't care about that. I don't know.
Can I say something like, this is gonna be really weird?
Yeah.
Okay, so they did, Brad Pitt and George Clooney were on the cover of like, it was like Vanity Fair or something like that. I don't know what it was. And there's like this scene where they're kind of like laying in bed together. It is so strange to me not to see famous people's feet. I'm not like a foot fetish type of person, but to see the bottoms of their feet.
I don't like seeing men's bare feet.
I hate seeing men's bare feet, but whenever I see the bottoms of a celebrity's foot, I'm always just like, this is so strange.
I know.
I'm just like, that's their whole foot. Like that is it's just so strange to me. Like, I literally, like, sat there for, like, a minute, and I was like, you've just put your whole foot out to the world.
Hey, they've put a lot more out to the world, I think.
That's true.
As an actor, you have to be pretty vulnerable, so I don't think they care about their feet showing.
I just don't like when people... I don't like when people's feet are showing in general. Like, women get away with it more because they have, like, open-toed shoes and stuff, but just, like... when they're like barefoot, I'm just like, oh, that's your whole foot. And once again, I don't like feet. I'm not like, ho, their feet. I'm like, your foot is out. Your whole foot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So one thing I thought was interesting was the movie got a 4-minute standing ovation, which that is
long. Imagine.
No, it's not.
Oh, really?
No, it is very short. That's what I was going to get into. That means it's a bad movie.
Oh, okay.
Because so what I was going to say was like the thing with these festivals, Cannes does it too, is they always, when they like headline these movies, they're like, you know, Killers of the Flower Moon got a 11-minute standing ovation, and it's like they all get standing ovations.
Yeah.
Every single movie gets a standing ovation. If it's under like 7 minutes, it's short. Like, it means it's not good.
That's crazy, because I just can't imagine standing there for more than maybe a minute and a half.
Right. 4 minutes is it does seem insane.
Yeah.
But it's not long at all, actually. Horizon 2, which is like the second part of Kevin Costner's weird Western movie that for some reason they split into 2 movies, and the first one did awful at the box office.
Yeah.
Got a 3-minute standing ovation.
The promo that he did, I think I showed, you were there when I watched it like the second time, because I went to see Inside Out 2 by myself.
So bad.
It's like a promo specifically with Marcus Theaters, where it's like the guy who owns Marcus Theaters is like,
shout out though, we love you.
We love you. But he's like interviewing him, and Kevin Costner just seems so miserable. He's just like, yeah, I'm starring in a movie.
Hot take, I don't think he's a good actor. That's why I've never been interested in watching Yellowstone. I think he is such a like wooden...
He's just like, you should go see it. He just wants to be a cowboy.
Well, to me, he's just a movie star. I don't really think of him as like being... Yeah, he just wants to be a cowboy.
Yeah.
I have other thoughts on that, but whatever. Anyway, so I'm tired of people being like, this movie got a 7-minute standing ovation. Like, every movie gets a standing ovation at these festivals. It's not that impressive.
I also, like, there's something very, almost like horror movie-esque to me about standing up for 7 minutes and just being like, yeah!
And then their actors, like, are waving. Like,
yeah, like, that... It's just horrific, honestly. Yeah.
So I guess like the record of the festival was there's a movie called The Room Next Door that has Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore.
Oh.
And that got the most. It got 17 and a half minutes.
Wow. 17 and a half minutes? That's
the
my
longest,
whole drive to like the post office.
The longest? Yeah, right?
That's crazy.
I could drive to work
That's such a waste of time.
Yeah.
Just write a review online.
And they'll just be sitting down. The longest standing ovation ever for a festival was at Cannes. It was Pan's Labyrinth with 22 minutes.
Okay, Pan's Labyrinth slaps.
I've never seen it.
22 minutes.
I do want to see it. I've heard it's a beautiful movie.
That is a whole episode of King of Queens.
That is a whole TV show episode.
That is so crazy.
Without commercials.
And it's like, I'm curious, you know how like sometimes like you're doing standing ovations? Like imagine like there's got to be like lulls at some points where it's like, yeah.
But then the director stands up and like talks or something. I don't know.
That is so insane.
Isn't that crazy? 22 minutes.
I don't even know what movie I would stand up and clap for 22 minutes for.
Well, there's like there is a really funny meme on X right now where it's like, it'll be like, breaking, High School Musical 3 got a 22-minute standing ovation from me in my bedroom.
I'm curious.
Like, yes.
I'm pretty sure like Shrek premiered at the Cannes Film Festival like the first time, and I'm like, I
would give that about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I would give it a while.
Yeah.
I would be like, hell yeah, donkey.
Yeah, I would give that at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you're still like, think about all the things you just saw in that movie. It ended with like a sing-along of I'm a Believer by Smash Mouth. It's crazy.
It's crazy. I would be like, yeah.
10 minutes at least.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, think about how long a minute is. It's, I don't know. But anyways.
I've stood for longer.
So I know you wanted to talk about the TIFF Festival. That's Canadian, right?
Yeah, it's the Toronto Film Festival. It is, I'll be honest, I don't know as much as what's going on over there, but I will say they did premiere Saturday Night, which is a film about Saturday Night Live.
Yes, I've been wanting to talk about that because I've been, when I was looking up stuff about like Steve Martin, when I watched that documentary, I was like, why don't we have a movie about Saturday Night Live yet?
Well, they do now. It's about like Lorne Michaels and him starting Saturday Night Live, and it looks good. It has a really good cast. Nicholas Braun, who plays Cousin Greg on Succession, he plays 2 characters in the movie. I don't know if that's. I guess it's like a joke that he plays but he plays 2 characters.
Yeah, I'm curious.
He plays Jim Henson and somebody else. I don't remember who.
If Saturday Night Live, like a movie about Saturday Night Live, is supposed to be like inherently funny, or if it's going to be like a very like serious, this is how it started, because that's interesting. You know?
I know, and I think. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it apparently is getting very good reviews. People love it. It's got a really good cast, and also the people that they've gotten to play the younger versions of like the guy that the actor, I don't know who he is, but he plays the young version of Chevy Chase, or he plays Chevy Chase when he was young. Looks exactly like him. It's crazy. Yeah, I think it'll be good. Dylan O'Brien is in it. And
I think Dylan O'Brien is.
I've never seen him in anything.
He was in
He was in Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, I never watched that.
I loved it. It's like, it's very camp. It's very like whatever. He was also in The Maze Runner, I think. I think he's just cute.
He's cute. I've seen him in like an episode of Curb, and that's it. I've never seen him in anything else.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know he was in an episode of that. Yeah, I'm very excited to see that. I don't know. I think like I think I was listening to Giggly Squad the other day, which is another podcast that I like, and they were talking about the Britney Spears biopic that apparently is coming out, and like they were asking like who would you cast in that? And I don't know. Like, it's so hard to cast people as like iconic figures.
I know. It's almost like you'd have to get like an unknown. I always think that's somebody
that's the best.
Yeah. Because somebody, I mean,
although I will say Lily James as Pamela Anderson was insane. Like,
yeah,
when
she
you
was
look
really
at
good.
Pictures of Pam and Tommy, and like sometimes it'll be pictures the real people, and sometimes it'll be them, and I have a hard time, like, it takes me a second.
She did look a lot like her, and
The
she
Crown,
sounded like her.
Phenomenal.
The Crown had some of the best like casting I've ever seen.
Princess Anne, I will never get over that casting. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I think you also said the Creative Arts Emmys were last night, which I don't think a lot of people know about, but
they
should
don't.
shout out.
And I'm tired of, like, I mean, it's its own awards show, but I will say people don't give credit to some really important people, basically.
Like, the people who, like, yes, okay, again, obviously the actors are important, but it's like, shows wouldn't be shows without, like, the people who do the music, the
writing,
who do the makeup, the people who do the hair, the costumes, like, it wouldn't be
the writing. I guess the writing is at Primetime Emmys, but yeah, exactly. The sound editing,
like everything that makes a show, like, you have to have the right people, and we don't acknowledge them enough.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm not going to acknowledge all of them tonight either, so I do feel bad about that. But I just want to give kind of some highlights from
They don't get acknowledged enough, and they won't be
they won't tonight either. No, we love all of them. Great job, guys.
Good job. Yeah. We'll standing ovation for them.
Yes, 22-minute standing ovation.
Exactly.
Right here. So Shogun broke the record for most Emmy wins for any single season of TV at the Creative Arts Emmys, and it's obviously expected to win more next week.
It is.
Which, by the way, it's next week. I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
So we've got to plan that.
Yeah. You didn't watch Shogun yet, right?
No, I didn't.
I'm telling you, it is so good. It is they deserve all the Emmys, down to just whoever decided to put blades of grass wherever they are. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. So the guest, an actor from that show won for best guest actor maybe supporting, or I don't know. That wouldn't make any sense. I don't know. Maybe it was for drama or something, but somebody from that won. And but a couple people from The Bear won. John Bernthal won for guest actor for The Bear for the episode. It's the greatest episode of television of all time, apparently. But it's the Christmas episode.
Who does he play?
He is the brother.
Oh, okay, Mikey. Yeah, he should.
And John Bernthal won his first Emmy, and I'm a huge John Bernthal fan, so I'm that was his first Emmy. That's wild because he deserves every award. Yeah. He's just amazing, and that episode, he was especially really good, and it was obviously a very tense episode. I think 1 million people from The Bear were nominated, so Jamie Lee Curtis won for guest actress.
She should.
So
I don't think she's a guest actress. I guess she's not in every episode.
She's only been in 2 episodes, or maybe 3, but and then Dick Van Dyke won an Emmy at 98 years old for his special.
I haven't watched his special. I love him.
He's so cute. I'm obsessed with him. I've always been obsessed with him.
He just, I just think he's And
other than maybe some physical problems, I think he is, I don't know if he's in a wheelchair, but he's, at least uses a cane. Other than that, he's totally at 98, he's totally all there and more. He's amazing.
And maybe it's just because he's been old since I've been born, but he just always, even when I watch him in stuff when he's young, I'm oh, you get cute little grandpa vibes with your little cardigans and I don't know, but he's also he was very handsome.
He broke a record he tied for oldest person to win an Emmy. So
interesting. I feel that would kind of suck though, if you've been doing stuff your whole life and you're I also
oldest person to win an Emmy.
I finally made it. Thanks, guys.
I mean, he should just be proud of his accomplishments in life because that's crazy that he's 98 and he still looks and talks like that.
Yeah, that is true. That's crazy. It's my grandma. She is 95 and she is getting it better than I am. Walking around, except for that time she fell down the stairs and sent me a Christmas card with a picture of her broken nose in it. She's phenomenal. I'm not kidding. She is with it more than I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to my grandmother.
Shout out grandma. Shout out to my grandpa.
Yeah.
Shout out to everyone's grandparents.
Shout out to the greatest generation.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what they're called.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah.
I was I don't
yeah, people born in the 1920s, 30s.
Oh, I'm stupid. I was gonna be I don't think they're the greatest.
I only know because I had to do a very intense project about it in high school. That was the bane of my existence. But anyways, speaking of people in their 90s, unfortunately, James Earl Jones also has passed away.
Yes, at 93.
Yeah, which is also a good long run.
Yeah, I was very sad. He's a very iconic actor. Obviously played the voice of Mufasa.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
interesting.
And he was Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what I think I know him best from. But
very sad.
Yeah,
very iconic actor.
I feel he would be good to have a biopic about. I feel he probably has a very interesting
life. His voice. So one thing I remember in college, I took a public speaking course, and we studied him actually as an actor with just a powerful voice and a good public speaking voice.
Yeah.
So he was very, very beloved.
Oh. But okay, before we get to our next topic. Let's do a little refill. Tonight we're drinking courtesy of friend of the pod and also our general friend, Julia. She brought to our movie marathon. It's called Stella Rosa, Stella Pink. It's a rosé. It tastes just like juice. Also shout out to her because she was in Peru. She got off a flight at 11 a.m. and then came to my house for the movie marathon, which I didn't know she was doing.
That is some friend dedication that I only wish I could have. Yeah. I know I would have been in bed. I'm not going to anyone's house.
I'd been like, I just got back from Peru.
Yeah.
But anyways, so in other news this week, there's not a lot to say about this, but Kendrick Lamar, it was announced he's going to be performing the halftime show, the Super Bowl. And if you want to learn a little bit more about Kendrick Lamar recently, we have, I think, like 2 episodes on it. We have the Venn diagram of beef, where my boyfriend Chris Williams comes on and talks about it, and then he came back and talked about it again. I forget the episode title, but you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I can't remember it either, actually.
Yeah, but so just like if you don't know, him and Drake have been beefing. He came out with a bunch of diss tracks this past year, and then he did the Ken and Friends performance in LA on Juneteenth, which was just like, the songs are phenomenal. If I were Drake, like, we have not heard from Drake in a long time.
Okay, if I just found out that is the Super Bowl, the biggest stage in like the world, was about to sing about me being a you know what?
Yeah.
I don't know if we can say that word.
A sexual predator.
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't know how I would continue on. I don't know.
To be fair, I think he's probably going to do a couple of those songs, but he also has like a huge, like,
I saw a set list. I don't know how somebody had this, but I saw like a random like leaked set list, and it was the first song.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, he's going to do like his popular stuff, his older stuff or whatever. I'm very excited about it. I love Kendrick Lamar. I saw him like in 2018. Yeah, I think it was. Phenomenal. As we know, he's won a Pulitzer, well-deserved. He's just a great guy. And, you know, he came out and he said, you know, rap music is still the most impactful genre to date, and I'll be there to remind the world why. And he said they got the right one.
Oh.
He's a very confident person.
He is.
And you know what? I admire that.
I'm going to start saying that at work.
Yeah.
When I get put on a project, I'm going to be like, you guys got the right one.
Yes, exactly. Well, actually, I don't want to say that because then they're going to put me on more stuff.
Yeah.
But I like his confidence because he's confident, I think, without being... I don't think he's, like, rude about it, you know? Like, he seems like he's probably not a rude person.
He's kind of like a cute... First of all, he's very short.
Yeah.
Did you know he's a very short king?
He is, yeah.
I did not realize how short he was.
You know what? But his personality, he's got the confidence. Yeah, like, he just seems like if you just met him on the street, like, he would be nice to you unless you're Drake.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, you know, or unless you're, like, a bad person.
I'm worried that Drake is going to, like, kill him. Because what do you do next? Like, that is...
I don't think Drake has it in him.
Do you think he has it in him to now come back with something? Like,
I don't know. I am very curious to see, like, what Drake, like... I mean, eventually he's got to do or say something. Like, I don't think I've even seen paparazzi photos of him. Like, he has been... I don't know what he's been doing.
Chris is downstairs. Should we ask him to make an appearance?
No, because, I mean, we weren't really, you know, that's all I really have to say.
We have our own thoughts.
Yeah. But also, so in the music genre, so they announced the CMA nominations, and Beyonce, people are talking about how she was snubbed. So she got 0 nominations for the Country Music Awards, even though she came out this past year with Cowboy Carter, which is originally, like, marketed as a country album, but then she came out and said it's not a country album, it's Beyonce or something like that. But it's a country album.
Yeah.
So people are, it's interesting because, you know, there's some contention with Beyonce and the CMAs from her 2016 performance with the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks. So in 2016, they performed together the song Daddy Lessons. Apparently it was a phenomenal performance, but people were upset because A, that was the first CMAs performance the Chicks had done since they got canceled for speaking out about against George Bush, and B, because they knew that Beyonce stood for, like, Black Lives Matter and that she's, you know, very liberal. And so even during it, Alan Jackson, like, stormed out, but then everyone else seemed like they were enjoying it. But then the backlash during the 2016 performance came, like, a lot of people were upset. Like, people were in the comments, they were referring to Beyonce as, like, a disgusting liberal. They were saying that, like, they were calling her racist. They were saying that, you know, she shouldn't have been up there because she hates the police. Like, just a very, I think, like, conservative-minded people being like, we hate Beyonce, and it was a huge thing. So then the CMAs, they kind of took Beyonce's performance out of the promos for the CMAs, which then people were like, okay, so you're caving to this, you're taking the promos out. The CMAs came out and said that they were like, that's not the reason. Those, like, promos weren't, like, authorized by us or whatever. But, I mean, it seems suspicious. Yeah. So Beyonce has cited her country music album, like, the inspiration for it was part of like that contention there, because she was like, you know, I want to show that like Black people have a place in country music, and the way that like people treated me was not okay, and I want to like really delve into like that heritage and that culture. But here we are at the CMAs again, and I think it's been unconfirmed. I couldn't find like information that even if she submitted any songs for awards, but like that would be weird, I think, if she didn't.
Yeah.
But so she didn't get any nominations. Post Malone got 4 nominations.
Yeah, and so that's interesting.
Yeah, because I would say, like, I think his country music album is country music in the same way that Beyonce's is. Right. It's like pop country, like, it's like a pop star coming to country.
Like, it's clearly not about, like, oh, this pop singer is doing a fake country album or whatever. Like, it's not about, like, that's not why the awards are snubbing them.
No.
Snubbing Beyonce.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, I'm saying, like, it's not because she's not originally a country singer.
Right.
Because Post Malone's not either.
Right, exactly. So I just think it is really shady. I think it's really shitty. Yeah. And I think, like, I don't know, it just goes to show, like, the problems that in the country music industry. And I'm not a country music person, so I don't know, like,
I'm not either.
A whole bunch of the background, but...
And, I mean, Patrick touched on this when he was here. Country music is like, that's the one fan base where they are very loyal to their music.
Yeah.
And I've never been a country fan. I just can't get into it.
I like we've talked about this. I like folk. I like Appalachian.
Yeah, I like bluegrass.
Yeah,
country,
bluegrass. I don't like pop country a lot.
No, not at all. I couldn't even. I don't like the way that people go and see people when they come. Like, I don't know half of them.
Yeah, I'm just not into it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why, like, the first time I went to Nashville, I was like, this is cool, but I don't think I'm appreciating it like someone who...
I know, I had my bachelorette was there, and, like, a lot of people were like, because it does fit my vibe as far as, like, the girliness and kind of the, you know...
Yeah. Well,
whatever of it all, but I think a lot of people were like, you know, Molly, it is like country music there, and I'm like, yeah.
The thing is, though, so when I went, it was like 2017 versus when we went, which was last year, a year or two ago. There was a huge difference just in like the bachelorette culture.
Yeah,
like it has risen where it's like I would say Nashville is more of like a bachelorette town now, and like country music is like even when you're walking down the street. Like, when I was there the first time, like, you could hear, like, bars are, like, blasting country music, but you're, like, walking down the street, and I'm talking about, like, the main street, like, Broadway or whatever. Right. And it was just, like, you know, pop music.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, because, you know, I don't know. I think it's interesting. But yeah, in other news, so we're all very excited for Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh, and their new movie. It's called We Live in Time, which also I thought there's this movie coming out that I feel like has Tom Hanks in it, and I feel like it has a similar title.
It takes place all in the house.
Yeah,
and it's like over a...
Oh, it's just called Here.
Yeah.
But that's...
Robin Wright, isn't it, I believe?
Yeah, that's why, like, I thought, I keep getting the two movies confused.
Well, this movie is, like, you can just tell it's gonna be...
A tear, yes. I cried at the trailer.
Just agony. Yeah. But in a good... I mean, like Florence Pugh described it beautifully. I saw an interview with her today where she was like, it's one thing about it that makes it different from other romances, or sets it apart at least, is it's like, it is tragic, but it also allows you to really find the joy in it, and it's just, I don't know, it looks very good. It's basically about a couple. I think it's an A24 movie.
It is.
It's about a couple who you know, they fall in love, and it's about their relationship, but the Florence Pugh's character gets cancer.
Yeah. And
they have like a kid together, and it's just about their lives together. I don't really know more than that, but it's obviously going to be a huge probably not a dry eye in the theater, but I did see something where people who saw the world premiere reportedly said it was the loudest sobs they've ever heard in a movie theater.
So I am curious about that, knowing you, who you always like proudly boast you're like, I don't cry. I've seen you cry twice both of which were valid, but you're always like, I don't cry. So I'm curious, like, do you
I
cry
just
during
mean
movies?
So sometimes I do. That's why I was gonna talk about like what movies have made us cry, because for me, I really don't cry a lot. I don't like to cry. Like, some people just, I think, like to cry. I really will do anything in my power to stop myself from crying.
Yeah.
And movies, it's very, I think things move me that don't move other people. Like, I don't ever cry over myself, really. Like, I don't get emotional. I didn't cry at my wedding. Like, those kind of things don't make me emotional, but it'll sometimes be like me seeing somebody just be comforting towards someone will make me emotional.
Happy things make me cry more, I think, in movies than sad things do sometimes. Or just, like, in life in general. Like, sometimes I'll just, like, look at my pets and I'll have tears in my eyes. I'll be like, I love you so much.
See, I don't, like, that's not, I'm not ever like that, you know? Obviously, I cried when we had to put my dog down. Like, that obviously made me, you know. Yeah. But I was gonna say, I don't know I think you cry more at movies than I do. You teared up over Sasquatch Sunset. So I know that you get emotional.
Here's the thing. When I say I tear up, I don't actually have like water dripping down my eyes. It's me going, you can't see my face, but me being like,
That's what I thought, because I'm like, there is no way there's tears actually forming.
It's like an internal tear.
So then I'm curious, because I know for me, like, so movies that have made me cry, every Greta Gerwig movie.
Yeah, Barbie made me cry.
I cried at Barbie.
They're talking about, like, mothers like, stand still so their daughters can move forward.
And this is an example of what I cry at. There's, like, a scene where she's just sitting on the bench and she's like looking at like humanity, and there's just like silence while she's watching people like laugh, and she's learning what it means to be like human or whatever. And then the old lady sitting that made me just so emotional. And so it's like things like that. But every Greta Gerwig movie has made me cry, because that made me cry. Lady Bird made me sob. Because it was the day before, I think I was going back to college the next day, and I watched it the night before, and so I was like, it's about that at the end, and I literally got so emotional I couldn't stop crying.
Little Women, which this is technically a spoiler, but it's also been out for again a billion years. When Beth dies, like, I remember I went to go see it with my friends Lucretia and Julia, and I just, like, all of us were like, oh my god.
Yeah, that one,
and again. The thing is, I even knew she was gonna die.
And I didn't cry over the original movie, but for some reason, the way it was, like, Greta Gerwig just really, just moves me for some reason.
One scene from a movie that always gets me, it's this movie called About Time. It has, like, Bill Nighy in it. It has Rachel McAdams in it, and it's about this guy. He can, like, travel in time, but it's not like a sci-fi, like, whatever. It's a romance. It's a romance, but it's also even not about the romance. It's, like, about the family. Yeah. And it's, like, his dad has cancer, and he is... his dad's gonna die, and so there's like some rule about time travel where it's like, if you go back in time after a person has passed away, then you'll change the future, and he doesn't want to do that. So it's like the last time he'll ever see his dad again, and it's the scene it's the scene where it's like a memory that they have together where he's a little kid and they're walking on the beach and together, and they're just like holding hands and like picking up sticks. And I'm gonna cry. Like, it is a really touching scene.
So another one that I was gonna say that made me just uncontrollably cry was Beautiful Boy. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It has Timothée Chalamet in it and Steve Carell. Steve Carell plays his dad, and Timothée Chalamet's character, it's based on a true story, has like a drug addiction, and he's really struggling with it throughout the movie. And like it goes in flashbacks to when he's like a kid, and there's like one scene where Steve Carell drops him off at the airport because his parents are separated, and he's dropping him off at the airport to go see his mom, or to go back home to his mom because he's only like visiting his dad. And like Steve Carell just is such a moving man. Like I just think he's a phenomenal actor. And he was like talking to him, and he's like, I don't even remember what he's saying, but he was just like, I'm gonna see you again soon, and like he's getting emotional, and I'm not kidding, from that moment till the end of the movie, I cried the whole rest of the way through the movie. It's such a hard movie to watch.
Yeah. Also, something recently that I watched, the show Firefly Lane. So it has Katherine Heigl in it, and the whole thing, it's like 2 seasons, and it goes back in time and then fast forwards like to the present of like these 2 women who were like, they've been friends since like 9th grade or whatever. And it's all about their relationship, and like that they like have spent their lives together, and they like love each other in this just like very deep friendship type of way. And this is a huge spoiler if you haven't seen it, but whatever. And one of the characters, she has cancer and she's dying, and it's just like the last episode I was watching with my mom, and I was like, I don't like people to see me cry, so I was like literally trying to hide it, and I was sobbing. It was like it was one of the hardest like finales to watch because it was really sad and also like really beautiful. It was just like, I don't know.
Aw. So I think I can already see because I can tell. I think the two, Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield, are two of like the best actors of this generation, and so I just very excited for it. But on a lighter note, one of the like funny things from the movie has been. If you look at the cover of the movie, or it's at least one of the cover posters, is like the two of them on a carousel, and the horse
is crazy.
Is like the ugliest horse head. He's making this really goofy face, and again, it's for like a tragic movie.
I remember I sent it to you and friend of the pod Megan on Twitter, and I was like,
"What's wrong with this horse?"
Yes, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah,
I thought it was like someone made that.
They didn't notice it, I guess, when they did the thing.
How could you not? It's like literally the two actors and then the horse's head. That's it. That's all there is.
And so there's been like a lot of memes from it. Like people have like edited it so it's like the horse's head is on both of their faces too. Yeah. And it's really funny. And they actually just did an interview like yesterday because the movie premiered. Like I said, it had its world premiere. And so the two of them were doing an interview and they talked about it. And Florence Pugh was like, yeah, luckily it wasn't in the movie though. And Andrew Garfield's like, no, it was in the movie. And they got in like an argument because they were like, she was like, I don't think it's in it. And he's like, no, it was definitely in it. And like they didn't know.
And I will say, I don't know what's up with carousels. They do be having weird horse paintings.
They're a little scary.
They're like, I'm like, I've never seen a horse with this expression. Like, and like I'll be riding it like you're on a carousel. And like sometimes like I'll have like my hands around the neck and I'm like, why is this fake horse so muscular?
It's so hard to get on and off those damn horses.
It is so hard. The horse, like, they are so scary.
I will never forget one of the most painful experiences of my life was when I was a kid, and I'm not going to go into detail, but the way that I got on the horse, I just sat wrong, and I still think about to this day how painful it was.
Yes, like the experience doesn't need to be like actually riding a horse. Like it doesn't need to feel like horseback, and also like I don't need to feel every vein in the horse's body. Like this is a ceramic horse.
And then there's some where it's like there's a bench that you can just sit on, and I'm like, well, why are you coming on the carousel to just sit on a bench?
Maybe it's like ADA accessible.
I feel bad now, but
I mean,
just
yeah,
saying,
also, yes.
It's random.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad.
Or, like, I don't know, sometimes the horses are really close to each other, and then there will be, like, one that's far away, and it's just, like, just the seating on, the seating on a carousel stresses me out like the seating on a Southwest flight.
No, you're right. Oh my gosh, yes.
Why is it like that? There's nothing more stressful. I hate Southwest. Why is the seating like that?
Same with the carousel or the swings at an, when there's like swings at an amusement park and you have to rush with your friends to find seats next to each other.
Or just like
so stressful.
When you're getting on a roller coaster, like when me and Megan went, and every time we're counting people, and then that one woman was like,
gosh.
"Oh, actually, those
can
are
you
my
guys
sons."
Cut? Yeah,
and
no.
And it's just like we just want to like, why is this so complicated? But also Southwest, fix your seating system.
They're getting rid of it. Yeah, they just announced it like maybe last week.
That is phenomenal. It is so stressful having to like go down the line. If you don't know, this is how you get on a Southwest flight. Okay, this is like not pop culture related, but pisses me off so much. Yeah. So to get on a Southwest flight, the way your seat number or whatever is if your flight's at 6 a.m., you need to wake up and check in for that flight at 6 a.m. the day before, because then you're going to get a better number in line. So then you get to the gate. It's like literally on the ground. It's like 1 through 60 little numbers, right? Yeah. And you have a number, right? So then you have to find, okay, if I'm 23, then you have to be like, okay, this is, and it'll just say, it doesn't say like individual numbers. It'll be like 20 through 30. So then you have to go up to each person and be like, I'm 23, what are you? And they're like, oh, I'm 27. So then you have to be like, oh, like the next person, what are you? And they're like, oh, well, I'm 21. And then you're just like, okay, I guess I'm in. And then everyone has to
do the math. Yeah.
Yes. And then when you get on the plane, that does
God
nothing.
help you.
That does nothing because there's no assigned seats. That just means like if you're in the front, you just get to have the first choice of seats. And if you're getting on a 3-seater plane, people are so stupid because they will not sit in the middle seat. So like my mom and I were on a flight to Mexico. We did not sit together because we were in like the back of the line. But also, every seat available was the middle seat because no one wants to sit next to each other.
It's infuriating, and I don't understand.
It's a full flight. You're gonna have to sit next to
someone.
Southwest
people love Southwest, and I don't understand it.
It's because you get free checked bags, but also I would rather. I'll pay the $30 for my checked bag. How is that worth
having anxiety
to not have a breakdown on the plane? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, that is, I'm so glad they're getting rid of it. This is, like, not having to do with pop culture. This is, like, I have never felt so passionate about a subject.
This is the greatest news you've gotten all day. I'm so happy that I got to deliver it.
Like, thank God, maybe I'll actually look at a Southwest flight. I'm not kidding. I hate them. Like, I go past Southwest in the airport, and I'm like, fuck that airline. And I just keep on going. Like,
you stop, you're, like, late for your flight, and you still take time to stop and say that, and
I'm just, like,
flip them off.
I'm picturing it's, like, me just in, like, a black hoodie or whatever, and I'm just, like, in the background staring at the Southwest flight. People are like, ma'am, what are you doing? And I'm like, fix your system. Fix the seating.
The airport is the perfect place to look sketchy and
suspicious. It really is, yeah. But anyway,
that's all we have for you guys.
Yeah, that's all we have today. But we have some exciting topics for next week. You look like you're gonna say something.
I was just gonna say we also have something exciting to share soon, but
oh yeah, we did a little fun project. Yeah. So stay tuned if you want to see any of our other fun projects, or if you want to see our out of context posts, you want to submit to our question of the week. Follow our Instagram at poppin'inpod. On Instagram. What?
I think it's Poppin' In Podcast.
Poppin' In Podcast. Damn.
We don't even know.
And also, please follow us, rate and review. Every single one helps. And we appreciate our original listeners. We love our new listeners. Please rate and review. But anyways, also, if you love Southwest and you're listening to this, I'm sorry.
I'm not sorry.
I don't want them to give us.
Okay, we don't want to alienate.
Like, Southwest people are passionate about Southwest.
That's what I was saying. They love Southwest.
Yeah.
Megan, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know you.
Becca, I'm sorry. Like, it's like I can name, like, it's like people affected by, like, a certain, like, tragedy or something, and you're just like, I'm sorry.
Megan Woodward.
Yeah.
We're listening.
Yeah. We're here for you.
On that note.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye.